Welcome to the Metals Investment Forum. It's my great pleasure to invite new CEO of Western Copper and Gold, Sandeep Singh. Welcome, Sandy.
Thank you so much, Chen. Good to be with you.
Well, you did a wonderful job for us, for shareholders, when you were running our Cisco royalties. And what bring you to the Western Copper and Gold after your successful run at our Cisco royalty?
Well, appreciate that, and I appreciate your support then and now. Look, this is a very globally significant copper gold resource in a very safe jurisdiction in the Yukon in Canada. Those two things don't usually go hand in hand very easily together. What I saw was, as I said, a huge long life resource. Economics are incredibly strong. We have a very current feasibility study on the project. Good partners. We've gotten the endorsement of Rio Tinto, one of the largest companies in the sector, 5 separate times. They own just below 10% of the company. Mitsubishi Materials owns just under 5% of the company. So well supported by some of the smarter names in the copper space, and obviously so, because it's one of the more important assets in the space. So happy to be on the team. Just been under a few months now, and have had good traction and expect to continue that momentum.
Oh, excellent. So right now you have a two partner potentially. Do you think that's those two will eventually build a mine, or maybe you attract more partner together to build a mine? So what is your exit strategy? I mean, you put your money on the line, you put $3 million of your own money into the company.
Yeah, look, I'm aligned with shareholders. That's the only way I want to kind of run a company, and that will continue to grow, not shrink. We're not builders of this project. This is a massive copper gold porphyry. It's going to run for decades. It needs to be built by either the right large company or the right consortium of companies. You point out, or I did as well, that we have two already in, and they're partners in the sense that they own the equity of the company, not the project. They certainly, in the fullness of time, could become the owners of the asset. But importantly, I think the asset is on the radar screen of a lot of other very credible groups. The commodity mix as well is interesting in that it's half copper, roughly a third gold. In production, this will generate 75,000 tons of copper per annum, but also 200,000 ounces of gold per annum for 27 years based on the feasibility study. But that's only a third of our resource, so it could go for decades beyond that. That's important to an awful lot of folks. As you well know, once you get to a certain size in gold, the only way you can grow is in copper, and every large gold company is out there doing copper transactions. So for us, we're not rushing. We think the backdrop for us in terms of both copper and gold is only going to get better. And our collective job is to de-risk the project through permitting, which is the next phase. And as we do that, and the backdrop for both commodities continues to get better, as people continue to realize, unfortunately, time and time again, that the world, or the places in the world where you can build these large projects and put the capital at risk, is fewer and fewer, or shrinking. I think people will come back to a project like Casino in a jurisdiction like Yukon, which is very mining friendly, and that'll be to our shareholders' benefit.
Well, excellent. I've been to the project twice. It's very impressive what they have, and the Yukon government is building the road for you, and then you have all the support of local people.
We're quite spoiled, in terms of where you'd like to build a mine. There's a lot of positive attributes. It's never perfect, but a lot of positive attributes. Really, we have good relationships with the First Nations whose land we're on. They see the benefits of a potential mine. We have to kind of work through the steps to get them fully on side, hopefully in due course, but a supportive relationship, good engagement. But really, 150 kilometers away from the next population center, there's only 40 some odd people in the entirety of the Yukon. So we're not really impinging on anyone. As you mentioned, the federal government, the Canadian government, is building part of the road to site that's already underway. So that's a huge kind of tick in the box that our shareholders don't have to foot the full bill for. And the Yukon government is helping the mining sector for all of Yukon secure access to concentrate shipment through a nearby port. They're putting their own money on the line to do that. Again, that's for the benefit of all of Yukon. But we're, as far as you can see down the line, it's really us that is coming down that road. So that's two examples of a very supportive backdrop for us. And you can understand why. I mean, critical minerals, copper and moly for us, are needed, are necessary. The Canadian government is pressuring. There's internal pressure to try to streamline to bring these projects to market, and there's also, frankly, pressure from our allies globally. Canada is recognized as having a lot of these important metals, and needs to do its global share of bringing them to the world.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, I was on a project last year. They were just breaking the ground for the road, and they just start building that. It's amazing. You couldn't find any more supportive government.
Well, that's the thing. Governments are good at making announcements. This is the announcement I'm referring to. It was made by the Prime Minister in the Yukon a couple of years ago. Roads to resources. One of those roads is the Casino Road, so really a road to our project. Otherwise, no use for it.
Yeah.
And announcements are great, but they've now spent the first 30 some odd million building the first stretch. So that's a lot more than just an announcement. And obviously the rest will come in time and needs to kind of jive with the schedule of an ultimate mine. And so we have to get that permitting process advancing, but that's a definite step in the right direction.
Okay, great. Tell us, as an investor, I want to know what kind of timeline you're talking about for the permit, right? So what do you see? And then also, again, as an investor, I'd like to know, what do you see that when the major will make a move?
Yeah. I'll answer the first one directly. But look, we are moving towards the ESC statement, the environmental assessments statement. That's the culmination of all the work we've done over so many years, all the consulting work that's underway to deliver the full description of the impacts economically, socially of the project. That's a big step. So that's what we're marching forward now. Marching towards now. Thereafter, you then get into your regulatory review with our regulatory body, YESA. That'll be a game of ping pong in terms of answering questions, trade-off studies. So we can see, the next 4 years to get to that environmental assessment approval, hopefully. That's the major de-risking element. There are things you need to do thereafter, but that's a big vote of confidence in the project's, just in the project's lifeline. We'll see what happens throughout that period. If we need to, we're funded to, and we're willing to take it there because, frankly, that's the biggest de-risking and re-rating potential for the project. If we can go from 0.1 something times NAV where we're trading now to 0.5 or 0.6 conservatively, that's a massive lift. Forgetting about what happens to that denominator NAV as we start to factor in higher, longer term commodity prices. Yes. So that's a lot of value, and that's worth doing. And I think our shareholders get paid to wait during that period. We've done all the drilling. We've got a technical study. The funding to get from here to there, we own. We already have it in the company. So as a shareholder, I think you get paid to wait for that and the backdrop improving. In terms of when and how and who, we know we have, like I said at the start, a globally significant project. They are very, very few in places where you can justify building them. The world needs, all the ones that I consider kind of on a short list of things that are worth building, we need them all, and then we need many, many more that I don't know where they're going to come from necessarily. So you can't pick that timeline, nor are we going to try to push at the wrong time. We're going to work through our standalone path because it creates a lot of value. If along that path there's a better alternative for shareholders, Chen, you know me, I've spent 20 years in mining, being transactional as an investment banker, a half decent investment banker, and if that's in the best interest of shareholders, of which I am one, you rest assured we can figure that out.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's a great introduction. So tell us where, if they want to find more information about your company.
Sure. Look, you can find us on our website. Obviously, our press releases have access, an email address and a phone number that you can call to reach us, and we try to be responsive to anyone that wants to hear anything about Western Copper and Gold.
Okay, thank you, Sandeep. And also thank you for what you have done in Cisco Royalty. Hope this is a second, even better one.
I hope this will be better too. Thank you so much.
Thank you.